morning, Meridian, and welcome to Business Buzz, sponsored by TDS Fiber. Joining me this morning is Paul Romm, Regional Sales Manager for Puzzle HR. Welcome, Paul.
Thank you, Sean. I appreciate it. Good to see you.
Thanks for joining us this
It's
morning.
my pleasure.
Yeah. So, Puzzle HR, it's a curious name.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit more about the services that the company provides to its clients.
Sure. Well, just as an analogy for those of us who are employees who are watching this, you may call HR from time to time when something comes up, but for the HR professional, gosh, there's so many pieces. It's like a 250-piece puzzle that's laying out there, and you've just got to be able to put it all together so that experience for us as employees is smooth, all the way from the hiring process, onboarding, orientation, performance appraisal, all the way to the time that we actually leave our careers and being offboarded properly. And all that falls on one person, typically the HR manager, or in a small business, it could be a business owner. And it's a lot. Yeah. I mean, it is, and it's become even more overwhelming over the last couple of years, as you can imagine with COVID, HR professionals becoming school nurses. So for us, it could be, it's very situational to our clients and prospects. If it's all encompassing, we can build an HR infrastructure from ground up and do it very quickly. If it's just a small piece or two that you need, and on a temporary basis, we can do that as well. But the key takeaway is we are the labor. We have hired talent acquisition professionals nationally, payroll engineers, benefits specialists, HR generalists, HR business partners. And so, again, depending on the needs of an organization, they tell us where it hurts, we fill in the gaps, and that's where we provide service.
Putting the puzzle pieces together.
That's
so Puzzle HR is a fairly new company. When did it get started?
So the pioneers set out in early 2019, opened their doors in the fourth quarter of 2019 with 14 people. And of course, we know shortly thereafter what happened, but we are up to now 200 employees. So it's working. It seems that we're filling a need that was out there, and vast majority of our personnel now are these professionals who maybe got a taste of what it might be like to be a consultant, work from home, occasionally visiting their clients instead of being dedicated to one organization. And so again, we've hired some incredible talent. We've got salespeople now going into different geographies. And I've personally been here now for about 7 or 8 months here.
Okay. So a follow up on that, you started kind of right there as COVID was impacting. What do you see as the effect that COVID had on a startup business that basically within 5-6 months the world was turned upside down?
Well, as you can imagine, there's certain roles out there in the community where you just have to have individuals show up to work. I mean, obviously, the job cannot be done remotely. But when COVID hit, obviously everybody had to sort of scramble, including us, because at this point, we were only 6 months in and still trying to figure out exactly what we were going to sell and the services that we could provide. But even I think for some of our clients and some of our viewers, they started realizing that some jobs can be done from home, or they could be done in a hybrid type of situation. So what's really curious about this is that, I sort of alluded to it, is that some people didn't really want to come back to work that full 8 to 5 time job. Yeah. And usually those are the best people because they've got leverage. They say, you know what? If you want me to stay here, I'm kind of enjoying getting my kids off to school and picking them up and having time during the day to not just only do my job, but to accomplish some of the tasks that I need to do. And so we actually managed to scoop them up. And
So what is the typical size of a company that Puzzle HR likes to service or industries?
Sure. Small, mid-sized businesses. So I would just say that there's always a sweet spot. I would say most of our clients are somewhere between 30, 300 employees. But I want to be careful because even on the low end of the range scale, it could be just, look, if you've got a business owner who just values their employees and they do believe that if they have a good HR infrastructure, that they could spend more time with their clients, they could spend more time with their families, but they also can be more effective with their employees, provided that they just get away from this friction that HR can create. But on the high end, it could be, gosh, I think we have some employers that are up to over 1,000 employees, and it could be very situational. We've got a specific process that they're not very good at, but we've got people that are expertise in it that can build it, make it more efficient. So it runs the gambit.
Do you have any technologies that these smaller businesses are able to utilize to make the HR component easier for them?
Right. Well, the most important thing as a takeaway is that we're not looking to disrupt our clients' existing processes. So if they like their existing technology stack, and this is an example, there could be a payroll system that they really, or they enjoy, that it works very well, benefits administration. There's certain technologies that are national in nature that we have hired that have a great deal of expertise. So the takeaway is that we don't want our clients to affect their technology stack at all. We're not a disruptor. Now, if they have a bad process they want us to improve upon, of course, we may bring some of that into play. The technology really rests on our side. So when we're learning, as an example, if we were to take over the processing of a client's payroll, we're going to shadow their process from the point of where maybe they collect time cards and such, all the way to we submit to their existing vendor. But it's a very duplicative process. So we're using workforce automation. We've got the technologies that can actually learn it very quickly and maybe speed up the process of a payroll. Maybe if it took 3 days down to 2 days or less. Okay. So that we're more efficient, that we can pass it on to our clients.
So your clients, is it an all-encompassing package, or do you have different things that they can pick and choose as far as your services?
Yeah, exactly. It's a pick and choose.
Okay.
So, and maybe I sort of alluded to that earlier, and not to get ahead of myself, but it could be just, I'll give you an example. You asked about certain industries. One industry that sort of pops to mind is healthcare. I have a peer in Philadelphia whose client is a home health care provider, right? And they just had a hard time from the time that they offer employment to a candidate to the time that actually can get them on the job. Very slow and clunky. You've got background tests, drug tests, all kinds of hoops before you allow a stranger into somebody else's home. So that is very fractional. It's all they really needed from us, and we were able to build it. There's always a couple of bumps in the road. It's never perfect, but we've gotten to the point, again, with our technologies that we're using on the other side, is that we took like a 3-week process down to just a matter of hours, to where they can feel confident. Okay, we can now bring this person in, and now let's get them on the job and start building.
Okay. When an organization agrees to partner with Puzzle HR, what are the costs related? Is it number of employees? Is it how does that work?
Yeah, it's not necessarily employees. It's really about the amount of time that we feel like it's going to be dedicated to our personnel. So again, we're the labor. So during the process of evaluating our prospects, we'll look at how many hours do we feel like we need to dedicate per hour to this job. So if you can imagine like a 300 employee company, let's say it's an engineering firm, most employees, I keep bringing up payroll, but if they're all salaried, it's very easy. Well, we could probably put a pretty nice little price on that and just, get it going. But there can be some smaller organizations like construction where there's all kinds of job costing and deductions and things that go from gross to net, where it gets really hairy that we need more time on it. So it's not necessarily
it's a customer by customer.
So it's not a price sheet that we can allude to.
Is there any new or exciting services that you're working on to bring your clients that you're excited about?
Yeah, so the fun part of being part of a small organization is that we're really nimble. And so when our prospects say, hey, can you do this thing? We say, we'll find out. We'll come back to it. So a couple things that come to mind. So for example, private equity. If you're a private equity firm, you need to evaluate how well this organization functions. And one of those functions is human resources. So we have people on staff that we come to discover have this skill set where they can actually do an HR audit and provide that back to a private equity firm. So again, to just see, what are the gaps? Where do we need to fix? And give that organization a better sense of what they're getting themselves into. Mergers and acquisitions. If you've got two organizations that have completely different
Systems, processes.
yeah, payroll systems and benefits, 401k, health insurance, how do you compare and contrast that? Super tedious. We've got the people that love that kind of work that can get all this is very tactical friction type of work inside of HR. Those were just a couple of examples of the things that we're doing that we just didn't even know existed in our talent pool, but they're there and we can do it.
So is there any other takeaways our viewers should know about Puzzle HR or yourself, Paul?
Well,
you said you've been here about 7 months?
Yeah, just so
right.
Personally, my sister-in-law had moved out to Boise about 20 years ago. She was the proprietor of Meridian Pediatrics. And we came out, my family, my kids, when they were younger, we'd come out to Boise all the time, and we just loved it out here. And so did my wife's family. So my in-laws are here out in Meridian. So was my next sister-in-law. I moved out about 8 months ago with my wife, and we just love it here. And just, and as we're talking about the Meridian Chamber, I've just been so grateful for everybody I've met that just spends time with me like this. Yeah. Just kind of learning to know what it is that we do. I'm also the son of a small business owner, so I've kind of walked, at least in the footsteps of somebody whose father was a business owner. So again, as I know that
seeing the challenges,
yeah, I mean, when things are good, things are good. When things are not so good, you just don't want, it's very personal to me to make sure that the businesses in the community here in Idaho running smoothly so that everybody can go home and have a great time with their family, take care of their customers, but also just take care of their people at a very high level to get to know them better and not be just answering questions about like, well, hey, what happened to this payroll or what, answer these questions that, they're just slowing them down from doing the things that they want to be doing.
Yeah. So Paul, if somebody's wanting to get in touch with Puzzle HR, what's the best way for them to do that?
Obviously, a cell phone or my office. I think because I'm bouncing around so much, I believe it's up on the screen. That's a Northern Virginia number, but listen, text me, call, and I'd love to hear from you.
And website is
puzzlehr.com.
Simple. Excellent. And email, I think we've got that put on the screen as well.
There,
Paul R at puzzlehr.com.
Yeah. So just real excited, Sean. It's been great being out here, and look forward to meeting more and more people.
Well, we hope you can come out to some chamber events and meet a lot of our other members and network with us.
I'll be there.
Yeah.
Very
Paul,
great.
thank you so much for joining us today.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Take care.
So be sure and check out our upcoming episodes of Business Buzz. And then next Tuesday, May 3rd, is our speaker series luncheon at the Galaxy Event Center. Registration is open on our website. Be sure and go and register to attend that luncheon. Until then, have a great week, Meridian. Thank you.